Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a first look plus on-feet video of the brand new Puma evoSPEED 1.4 SL in the limited edition pre-release 3D Camo colorway. Now, as you guys can see, it does come in a white box with 3D Puma branding. It does have a sleeve on the box as well with a graphic that matches what you're going to find on the shoes themselves. We'll pull the sleeve off and we'll take a look at what's included inside the box. No string bag, but they do include a set of paper Puma branded 3D glasses, one blue lens, one red lens. That's to show off the 3D graphic on the shoe itself, which I will talk about more a little bit later in the video. And other than that, all you're going to find inside the box are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what essentially is a competitor to the 99-gram adizero that was pretty recently released in very limited quantities by Adidas. Now this, just like that 99-gram adizero release, is a limited edition shoe. Only 500 pairs worldwide, but of course this is a Puma pre-release shoe, which obviously they do whenever they come out with a new model, where they essentially give you a very unique color and graphic that isn't going to be what you'll find on the general release retail variation, but you do have the option to get the shoe prior to the official release, prior to all of the actual tech specs being unveiled. And of course, there's only 500 pairs worldwide. So if you do pick these up, you're going to be one of only 500 people to actually have them. The retail price is $200 US. And if you guys are interested in a pair, first link down below in the description. It'll take you to the review page on my website. And on that page, you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you can pick these up below their normal retail price. With that being said, you can expect the general release version of this shoe to actually cost a little bit less, just based on kind of historic pricing patterns with Puma's pre-release models. The Evo Power 1.2 was a $50 premium over the standard colorways, whereas the new Puma King pre-release color was $100 more than the standard release colorways. So you can expect this shoe to actually retail for $100 to $150 when the retail variation actually comes out, hopefully sometime later this month. Now you're probably wondering, why is Puma releasing this shoe at such a low price? Even at $200, that seems relatively affordable. And that's because stuck to the bottom of the shoe, on either shoe, is a sticker that I've pre-removed for the video just for the sake of making it a little bit easier for me to show you guys. These two stickers, they both read the exact same thing and I'm going to read them for you. This is something that has not been covered in any of the press releases for this 3D Camo evoSPEED 1.4 SL. It reads the following: the evoSPEED SL is not for training days. It's for your best days, your match days. It may only be used on real grass. Due to its extremely lightweight design, it's expected to last up to 10 games, but the moments it creates will last forever. That is something that will shock a lot of people. I know I was surprised when I first got the shoes, and it's something that will right away kind of strike people as a very, very negative thing. These things are $200 and they're only going to last 10 games. That's essentially $20 per game. And then of course you're going to have to buy a brand new pair of shoes. Now, before you leave your negative comments regarding Puma and this particular release down below in the comment section, please listen to what I have to say and share about these stickers and about this shoe in general, because believe it or not, I think that these stickers and this warning from Puma is actually a very, very positive thing. So if you're interested in learning more about the new evoSPEED 1.4 SL, please stick around, watch the entire video, and with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the weight, because that really is the main reason why you'd even be interested in the evoSPEED 1.4 SL in the first place. So I thought, what better shoe to compare it to than the 99-gram adizero from Adidas. So we're going to weigh both of these shoes for you today in real time, so we can see how big of a difference, or if there's any difference at all, between these two extremely lightweight soccer cleats. So keep in mind, they're both in brand new condition. The adizero is a 9 US, that's because that's the only size they made them in, whereas the Puma evoSPEED 1.4 SL is a 9.5 US, which is technically the same size because these actually run half a size small. More on that a little bit later in the video. So we'll start off with the 99-gram adizero, throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at a remarkably lightweight 3.4 ounces. That is the equivalent of 97 grams. This is an extremely lightweight soccer cleat, just ever so slightly lighter than the 99 grams that Adidas is advertising here. So we'll change the units on the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, and you can see that they weigh in at an equally remarkable 3.75 ounces. That is the equivalent of 106 grams. So you're talking about a 9-gram difference between these two shoes, which is next to nothing. Either in hand or on feet, you're not going to notice a difference in weight between either of these two shoes. Of course, the 99-gram Adizero is technically a little bit lighter, but it's really still a remarkable achievement here by Puma. And you also have to consider that this is a shoe and a design that actually will scale. So unlike the 99-gram Adizero, which only was produced in a size 9 US, one single size, they did this shoe, the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, in every single size. So this was really designed and engineered to be an actual soccer cleat that absolutely everybody can wear if you wear a men's size. So that in itself, to me at least, makes the evoSPEED 1.4 SL that much more impressive in comparison to the 99-gram Adizero. And I will say, for the extra 9 grams of weight that is added to this shoe versus the 99-gram Adizero, I will say that they feel a lot more solid than I was honestly expecting, especially in comparison to this 99-gram Adizero. And I also will say that the laces they put on this particular colorway, the pre-release colorway, are fairly chunky. I think if you put on some different laces, they would actually shed a little bit of weight. So circling back to these stickers right here, the evoSPEED SL is not for training days. They've essentially told you that they will last up to 10 games and then they'll be essentially broken, ready for the garbage. You'll need to buy new shoes. Why is this sticker a good thing? I think that this is a good thing because Puma isn't lying to us. And if you watched my video on the 99-gram Adizero, it came across as very negative, not necessarily towards Adidas as a brand, but just to the idea of marketing this concept to people as an actual soccer cleat. They only made it in one size. They only gave it to 500 people because they only made that many pairs, which means that most people won't actually get to wear these things and feel them for themselves. If you've actually watched my video on this particular shoe, you know that I said that yes, they're very, very light on feet, but they don't actually feel very good. They're very, very flimsy. It doesn't feel like it would actually perform well. So yes, technically it's a 99-gram soccer shoe, but the performance aspect is certainly not there. And I really, really question the durability. With the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, they've achieved pretty much the exact same weight range, but they're actually being truthful with saying, hey, if you buy these things, they're actually not going to last all that long. This is really a shoe that you buy for game days only, and just don't expect too much more than that in terms of durability, because you can only expect the shoe to be so durable if they make it as light as they've made it. And you also have to consider, like I mentioned at the start of the video, that this is a pre-release color. So while it's $200 here, the general release colorway may be $150, it may even be $100. And then at that point, I'm not saying that it's going to be more worth it, but it definitely makes it more of a reasonable deal, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Of course, this ultra lightweight concept isn't for everybody, but if you really want the lightest possible shoe, you really have to kind of accept the fact that they're not going to last forever. And when you're going extremely lightweight, like they've done here with the 99-gram Adizero and the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, I think that giving you this warning label, letting you know that, hey, this is a shoe that's not going to last a very long time, is brutally honest, which I really appreciate from companies, especially a big company like Puma. So I really applaud them for this little warning label. I'm curious to see how durable they're actually going to be. Obviously, they've given you an estimation of up to 10 games. That doesn't necessarily mean that after 10 games they will for sure be broken. It definitely is a possibility that they can last a little bit longer than that. Until I actually try them out for myself, I can't actually say. But what I will say, and what I have said, is that in comparison to the 99-gram Adizero, and that's not to take anything away from the design aspect of this shoe, I think that the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, both in hand as well as on feet, feels a little bit more solid in terms of its overall construction, even though it's still in the pretty much the exact same weight range. You're talking about a couple of grams here, which in the grand scheme of things is not something that's going to be noticeable at all when it comes to actual performance. So how has Puma been able to achieve such a lightweight construction here with the evoSPEED 1.4 SL? Well, the answer to those questions aren't 100% clear yet, mainly because this is a pre-release version of the shoe. So until the official release comes out, the general release colorways, Puma hasn't really released any of the kind of crucial tech specs, but it's pretty evident what they've done here. and the materials are pretty self-explanatory based on what I can see. So the upper, very, very thin as you would expect. There's pretty much no structure to it whatsoever. They're paper thin, but again, in comparison to the 99 gram adizero, they seem to be a little bit thicker overall and just a little bit more solid feeling both in hand as well as on feet. Now, of course, the top layer is just a fused on kind of polyurethane type of material, a very thin layer of plastic, if you will, that is on top of a textile base. So again, very similar to what you're going to find on the 99 gram adizero, just not translucent, although I think it could be if they really wanted it to. Just to give you guys an idea of what the inside looks like, because it kind of shows off the material a little bit better. Here's the reverse side of the tongue, which essentially is the same material across the entire upper. You have a finer kind of woven textile, and then you have a kind of skeleton support frame fused on top with kind of thicker weave textile material in this kind of crisscross pattern. And you can see that is across the entire inside of the shoe, just to add some stability to this extremely thin, extremely lightweight shoe. Now, with that being said, as much as this does add to the reinforcement of the upper, it still isn't very solid at all. So when you are making those quick, hard lateral cuts, I expect there to be quite a significant amount of rollover in this particular shoe. That's just going to be the case with any super thin textile that is just so flimsy and so thin as this construction is. So there's not a lot they can do to really help that with this type of a material, but it is something that's very interesting, and it has been kind of changed up a little bit in comparison to what we see on the 99 gram adizero. Laces run through the middle, as you guys can see. For those that are curious, the kind of top layer of the material itself is pretty slick. There's really no extra grip here at all, and when you get up close, you can actually see that the graphic has been kind of fused into the cracks of the textile material as well, kind of in between the actual cage on the inside, which you can actually see from the outside of the shoe, which is kind of cool. A little bit difficult to see on this particular colorway because there's so much going on, but I just wanted to point that out. Laces run through the middle of the shoe, as you guys can see. The heel liner is a kind of smooth perforated synthetic material with a decent amount, a fair amount of padding, I guess is the best way to put it, considering how light they are. They feel pretty comfortable on foot, so I don't expect it to be much of a break-in time with something that is this thin. The upper is as flexible as it's ever going to be, and because the sole plate is so thin as well, it's extremely flexible from right out of the box too, so not much break-in time required here. I think by the time they're broken in, they'll actually be broken, which again, Puma actually does warn you about, which is nice. And then of course, the sole plate and heel counter combo, it is entirely one piece. You do have a bit of a heel counter here, which is pretty cool. It appears to be a thinner plastic. Obviously, a lot of people are going to call this a sprint frame copy, and to a certain extent it is, although there's only really one way to make a one-piece sole plate and kind of heel counter combo, and this is kind of what it ends up looking like. It's a very, very thin material, as you guys can see. From what I can tell, it's plastic, perhaps some kind of a nylon. Again, until Puma releases the official tech specs, can't really say. I'm sure they'll have some kind of a name here for these stiffener bars running through the middle of the shoe. But of course, what's interesting here about the sole plate is not so much the thinness of it, because that's obviously the main reason why it's so lightweight. What's interesting is the stud pattern that, in comparison again to the 99 gram adizero, is a lot more substantial and what I believe to be a lot more usable in terms of providing really, really good traction. So in the heel, this is definitely the most distinctive characteristic here. You're going to find a 3-stud layout that is very similar to what we've seen in the past with the Pele Trinity. For those that aren't familiar with that shoe or that brand, Pele Sports is actually out of business now. They came out with an extremely lightweight shoe as well that did have pretty much the same layout, except instead of bladed studs, they were kind of more conical shape, but very long, very aggressive, similar to what you're seeing here. Of course, you have those 2 bladed studs on the lateral side, and then 1 single conical stud here on the medial side, which you would think would be unstable, but just if it's anything like what I used on the Pele Trinity, you're not going to have any issues at all, and it's not something that's particularly noticeable. You're going to get very aggressive traction when planting into the ground with your heel, and like I said, I don't expect slippage to be an issue on natural grass playing surfaces. Moving on to the forefoot, you're going to find 6 main studs along the outside, and then 1 bladed support stud right in the middle. At the base of the sole, you're going to find bladed studs, kind of similar to what you're going to find on the Evo power line in terms of how it's laid out. And then you're going to find 4 conical studs that, again, have some decent length to them. You can see that they are clear tips as opposed to solid plastic like you're going to find with the rear studs, and they're actually hollowed out in the middle, which perhaps is a little bit difficult to see on camera. But again, they did everything they possibly could to shave as much weight as possible. And again, it's a very aggressive stud pattern. And because of how thin the sole plate is, I wouldn't necessarily recommend these for hard ground. Not only will they not last as long on hard ground, but you may run into issues with discomfort and stud pressure given the length of the studs and the actual thickness of the sole plate. So the last thing to really touch on regarding the performance of this shoe is actually the insole. That is fully removable, which is nice. And it reminds me a lot of what we've seen before on the Nike GS. So it's extremely lightweight foam, very thin, and it has this kind of like air-like quality about it in terms of just how it feels in your hands. It's good step-in comfort, no lining on top. It's just a single layer of foam with, of course, some texturing and then some perforation through the forefoot and midfoot area. Again, just to shave as much weight as possible. You can see on the bottom, it does say evoSPEED, which is kind of cool. And overall, very, very interesting insole. I'm actually curious to see what this material actually is, if it's supposed to be anything special or if it's just a standard foam and I'm making too big of a deal out of it. So that's pretty much it as far as the tech specs go. Again, very impressive that they were able to make a shoe as light as this. But again, with anything this light, it's really difficult to make them durable. And again, I think it's a very positive thing that Puma is warning us before you buy this shoe that if you buy them, don't expect them to last very long. As far as the aesthetics of the shoe are concerned, obviously it does have a very sleek kind of lightweight look to them. And being that this is the pre-release version, it does have a very fancy graphic happening that you won't find on the general release colorways. With those, you can probably expect a form stripe on the lateral side, possibly one on the medial side as well, and just a more traditional Puma boot look. With this particular colorway, you get a 3D camo, if you will, that has obviously the Puma logo written out in kind of like a light gray color with, of course, the red and the blue to give it that 3D pop. You have the same graphic in the laces, which is pretty cool. Although the laces, like I mentioned earlier, are pretty chunky and kind of takes away from the lightweight design, I would think. These have to add a couple grams of weight. You have the black heel liner, the white insole, and of course the graphic is printed across the entire outsole as well, including the heel counter. Now the graphic on the upper is uniform on both shoes, so they're essentially just mirrored. So you're going to find the same graphic in the same spots on the uppers of both the left and right boot, whereas the graphic printed on the actual sole, which will wear off as you wear them, by the way. It's actually kind of like the graphic you're going to find on the new Hypervenom Phantom 2 from Nike, where it's just printed directly on top. So once this does come in contact with the ground, it does have potential to actually wear away. But again, you do have that 3D graphic across the entire shoe, which looks pretty cool. And like I said, it's not the same on both the left and right boot. The graphic on the actual heel counter is completely random, which I think is cool. That means that every single shoe is unique in one aspect or another due to the printing on the sole. Though if there's one underwhelming thing about this shoe, it's actually the 3D effect when you're wearing the glasses. Obviously, when you're not wearing the glasses, they don't look 3D at all. It's just kind of a weird graphic. If you know what 3D is, obviously you can tell that this is supposed to be a 3D graphic. But when you're actually wearing the glasses themselves, the 3D, or the Puma logos, I guess I should say, don't really pop all that well. There's just too much going on. So it almost seems like the shoe is out of focus when you actually put the glasses on. I can't actually show you what that looks like on camera, or through the camera, I guess I should say. But like I said, in person, the 3D aspect of this particular colorway is fairly underwhelming. But other than that, there's nothing else underwhelming about this particular shoe. Again, you pay that $200 premium price tag for this limited edition release. Only 500 pairs worldwide, only 500 pairs with this particular colorway. So if you want this either to wear or even as a collector's piece, definitely something worth picking up, and pick it up as soon as you can, because with only 500 pairs worldwide, the stores that do have them don't have very many. So if you want them, get them while they are available. All right, so here is a look at the evoSPEED 1.4 SLs on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock 3D laces that come with the shoes. And on my right foot, I have a pair of red, white, and blue Chevron SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, check out the website www.sr4ulaces.com. That'll be linked in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, I have to say they feel a lot better than I was honestly expecting. I've been comparing it a lot to the 99 gram Adizero just because it is kind of the obvious shoe to compare it to. And in comparison to the 99 gram Adizero, I would say that these feel more comfortable and just more solid on feet overall. I expected them to be very, very flimsy just based on how they feel in hand, but On feet, they're actually not too bad. I'm still very, very worried about the actual upper itself and just the amount of rollover that it's going to have just due to a lack of structural integrity. But in comparison to the 99 gram Adizero, that feels much more plasticky than I perhaps would have liked. The textile base for this upper really does come through, and it has a very kind of soft, flexible, almost sock-like quality to it, but at the same time, it does have a plasticky feel as well. You can see that when I bend my foot, there's just a lot of kind of deformity to the upper itself, and that's just due to a lack of structural integrity in general. But all in all, pretty comfortable shoe. It is a tighter fit, and of course it does have that kind of more of an anatomical shape where it's slightly wider in the forefoot and midfoot area and a little bit tighter in the toe box, but good width pretty much all the way through despite the tighter fit. So as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, you shouldn't have any issues fitting into the evoSPEED 1.4 SL at all. They will fit most people quite comfortably, and the central lacing system allows you to get a nice tight kind of snug fit when you pull the laces tight as well. Stud pressure is something that I was a little bit worried about just because of how thin the sole plate is. It's something that is noticeable when you put on the 99 gram Adizero. While those shoes have much smaller studs than these, I will say that I'm actually pretty impressed with how these feel. Really not much stud pressure at all. I can feel the studs under my feet a little bit, but that's kind of because I'm on pretty hard kind of turf right now. But if you were on a nice natural grass playing surface, you really wouldn't have any issues with stud pressure, at least I don't think. Again, until I've actually worn the shoe, I don't want to say too many things regarding the performance, but I will say that I'm pretty impressed with how they fit. They're much more comfortable than I was honestly expecting. As far as sizing is concerned, they do run half a size small, so instead of going for my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are planning on picking these up, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. Alright guys, that's it for my initial thoughts and impressions of the evoSPEED 1.4 SL. As of actually making this video, some of the retailers that did have this shoe for sale have actually increased the price to $250 US as opposed to $200 like I was talking about at the start of the video. At $250, I think it's pretty tough to swallow a shoe that's only supposed to last 10 games. So at that price range, I can't say that this is worth it, but it's definitely an interesting concept, and I like at least that Puma is being honest with themselves and honest with their customers in telling you that yes, this shoe is extremely lightweight, it's going to provide an extremely lightweight feel, but the durability just isn't there at this particular weight range. So for that, I applaud Puma. Does that mean that this is a good shoe that you should buy? Not necessarily, but I am very curious to try it out, and I will be trying it out and following up with future videos on this particular product. So for those that are interested in more coverage, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you aren't already for, of course, future updates on the evoSPEED 1.4 SL. If you have any further questions about this shoe, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these up below their normal retail price. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I already mentioned that, so I'm not going to say it again. All my social media information is down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.